Okay, so we are in an 8S305 equipped with the deluxe cab. This screen here is the Datatronic 5, and up here would be your FieldStar 5 if ordered with, and equipped with it. First, we're going to start off with the basic home screen functions. So on the side here, we have all our options we can select on our home screen that we can watch as we are just going through. To change them, you hold for 3 seconds and you have all your different options you can select to have on the side here. If you wanted to get rid of some, you would click the delete button and select another one and it would take its spot. You can have all your different, depending on what you want to run, you can have your engine presets, your engine load, RPM, etc. Here you have on the top screen here, you can change what kind of screen setup you want to have, and that gives you the ability to have quick access to your pre-selected screens. If you wanted to change it, you would hit the add button, and if you want to put ISO in that position, you would have it there. Go back and ISO will be saved in that order. If you wanted to change order, you can also grab it and just turn it and it will change the order that it is in. Here on the top here is your counter, so that basically gives you all your time, fuel, etc. This tractor is on the latest software update, so a lot of the tractors out there equipped with the Datatronic 5 will not have this option, so that is something that comes with the new software update. Here we got our profiles. If you wanted to create a new profile, you hit the plus button in the bottom corner here and you can start a new profile. If you are running an implement, let's say the baler behind you guys there, the 4160, if you guys wanted to run that implement on here and you save all your settings in your screen, let's say your flow rate for your remotes and which order you have your hydraulics set in, you would save that on that profile, and as you go in, you can, depending on implement you are on, you would just select it, hit that implement you're hooked up to, and all your settings will come back. So it's right at your fingertips. You don't need to change all your settings every time you get into a different implement. Again, here is your PTO rear and front, and your F1, F2, and F3 buttons are on your multi-pad joystick and on your joystick for your loader remote or your hydraulic. What these do is give you quick access. Again, click it and you could set a preset depending on which button you have selected. So if we have F1 right here, which is on our multi-pad joystick, we can select an engine speed to have it directly hooked onto our multi-pad, so we can just pull in the field, hit F1, and it will go to our preset engine speed. Or if you want to hook GPS or your Bluetooth, transmission settings, cameras, etc., you can hook that all on there, and that gives you, there's 3 options and there's 3 buttons in the cab, and you can have each one set to a different option to just make it quick access. If we go here, we'll do screen setup. Screen setup is on this gear with a wrench. That gives you 3 options, and the 4th one will be if you have a FieldStar 5 tractor. First one here will give you the screen with the gear. That gives you all the options depending on what you want to run. It gives you your language, all your different measurements, your screen brightness, your volume of your screen, the date, the time, so that can all be changed manually as a customer. If you wanted to select, if you're under US measurements or if you're under metric, but you still want to run Fahrenheit or Celsius, you can individually change each one, select OK, and it saves it. And then up here, again, it is changed. So everything can be changed individually, or you can change it as one complete screen. Going here, it's also equipped with a calculator. you wanted to do some quick math in there, it's also equipped with that, or a notepad for notebooks, any notes as you're going through. Next, we will do the implement setup. So this is your screen for your, depending on what kind of implement you have. If you have a front hookup, that gives you this icon, and that will tell you, or that will select the front hitch implement. Right now we're on a rear hitch, and that is directly hooked up to the drawbar without steering axle. So that gives you, here are the three options. You got your rear 3-point hitch hookup or 2-point. You got your drawbar non-steering, so like a planter, and you have your steering axle directly hooked up to your drawbar. This one here is mainly if you have an implement that steers, so like a shit tank or whatever you are pulling. And so here is your, these two buttons here is your offset. Depending on if you're running a side mower or whatever implement it is, and if the implement is offset, you would set your distance of offset in this right where this 3 foot 3 inches is located. Here is this measurement here is the distance from the hookup to the working area of the implement. So if it's a planter, it'd be where the planter is working to the hookup of the implement. So that's that measurement. So we have it at 7 feet. And then here is the width of your implement. So we have it at 9 foot 10 inches. And that basically gives you the your measurements of your implement.
And then this one here is for our distance back to our steered point. So if we have a like to our wheels of the planter, so what that'll do is with this icon here, we're set to auto now. If we click on it, we can go manual and then as well as just off. So what that'll do is that'll change our reference point, so where we are going to be making our calculations for steering. So if this is set to auto here or manual with the green steering wheel, it'll change our reference point to this implement back here. So as we do a contour line, it'll oversteer the tractor to maintain the implement on that way line as best we can to keep our guest rows consistent.
That is a feature that is very popular right now. Again, here on this side is our painting line. So when we are running GPS, depending on how we're doing it, we can either have it painting in reverse. So as your GPS is activated, you can be painting in reverse. This icon here is selected for both in forward and reverse, or you can select just forward. So if we have it painting in both directions here and we want to trigger it on a certain setup, so if we're running a manure tank and we want to start painting right when we trigger the PTO, right when if we have it set on PTO, we turn the PTO on, it will start painting. Turn the PTO off, it stops. Just keeps your mapping nice and neat and consistent all the way through, not that you have overlaps everywhere on the road, etc. So you can have it either on timer consistent, or you can have it on a remote. Doesn't, like if you have a remote 1 and you can have it on the plus position, so you hit the remote 1 plus, the GPS will trigger the painting, and from there it will stop. When you hit it back, it shuts it off and you can go. Same here, you can set it on your GPS. Really doesn't matter. Here, again, very neat option. You can, just for simplicity, if you wanted to run a lot of or like if you wanted to keep things organized, you could put your operator's hours in. So depending on what your wages are, you can put that in there. And then you can also do the cost of your fuel. With that being set in there, it will automatically calculate all those measurements, and it will give you a final on your final overlap. Here is the overlap of your implement. So if you were running a cultivator and you wanted to overlap, let's say 6 inches on either side, you would do, and here you would change this to 6 inches. So you do it there, And if you just wanted to, there, hit 6 inches, push OK. It will overlap on either side 6 inches, and that gives you, no reason to miss spots. Here is all your, basically your tasks. So anything that you have set in there, your time, your fuel consumption, etc., is all saved in here. This is what triggers this system to start counting. It does have to be activated every single time you do enter a field, or you want to just start calculating certain work you are doing. You have to trigger it. It is always on the top of the screen. Once it is green, it indicates that the system is counting, and it will start putting everything into a chart, and it can be saved through taking a picture of it, or however you want to do it. Once you turn it off and you go to the next field, you just hit reset. It will reset all the numbers, and you start over again. So that gives you all that. If we go here, we got our engine presets. The first one here is our engine A preset, so that is on your multi-pad joystick. So you can change it by just adding or subtracting RPM, hitting OK, and it will save it in there. That is a preset that is just clicked with a button on the multi-pad joystick, and it will automatically bring up your RPM to that certain preset. Same with the engine B preset. Here is our engine response, so how fast our engine responds when we are driving. Setting on 4, it will take off quite fast, rev up quite fast, that sort of thing. Right here we can change if to on or off, depending on if we want to have our cruise control and our engine preset hooked to the same button. So once we engage cruise control 1, our engine preset A will attach to the cruise control. Same thing here with cruise control B 2, it will attach to engine preset B. Anti-stall basically gives you the option that if the tractor comes under extreme load or bogs down, it will kick out whatever it is working with, and so your PTO, if it comes down too far, it'll kick your PTO off and rev back up. So that basically prevents it from stalling. Here is our engine RPM limiter. So if we want to only run 2000 RPM, or if you want to run 1700, depending on what you're doing, you can just trigger it on, and your engine will not be able to exceed 2000 RPM. On the bottom here, we can have the trigger option. So if we are running a remote and we want it to automatically rev up to 1000 RPM, once we trigger the remotes, we select it to on, and the trigger is on here. Once you touch a fingertip or a remote, it will automatically rev up to 1000 RPM and hold it there. Next off here, we have our transmission. So preset forward is 2.5 mile preset, so that's your takeoff speed. Acceleration response is at low, so that's how fast it accelerates when you take off, and you have your low, medium, high depending on what you want to do. Acceleration is just the opposite, how fast it slows down, etc. On the bottom here is how you change your cruise control setting 1, add or subtract, and that will automatically save it into your multi-pad. Cruise control 2 is on the bottom here, and the final one here is your max speed. So if you wanted to change that to 40k, if you're running dumper and you don't want to exceed it, but you just want to be able to just go max speed every time, you don't have to worry about speed, you can just change that to 40 kilometers or 27 miles, whatever you want it to do, and it will not exceed that speed. On here we got our shuttle sensitivity. That's your multi-pad joystick on your console. Road supervisor and power takeoff supervisor. So those two, basically, so if we have it at set at 10%, your engine will. So if you're running down the road at 10% with a load on there and your engine decreases 10%, it will start to cut back on the tranny. So that's basically just how far you can bog down before it starts taking everything with it. And that's also with your rear PTO, same option. Brake to neutral, so that is quite a popular one. If you are running down the road with a dumper or something and you're fully loaded, brake to neutral is a very good thing to have on. It's just when you hit the brakes, it basically puts the transmission in neutral, keeps your RPM down, and it just only works as a brake, and it doesn't fight your transmission when you come to a complete stop. So it's one of those things that just should be on at all times. And we go back here, we got our rear hitch and front hitch options. We can have it set to manual or auto, and we can have it set through, if you look here, we can have it set on our joystick to run our front or rear remotes. And if we go to our remotes here, another big thing that Massey changed with this screen, it is not on the 87s, but it is on the 8Ss and 9Ss that will be coming. You are able to change the position of your valve to whatever selection you want. So if you wanted to change your joystick, you could just hit here and you're able to select whatever valve 1 through 5 or your front hitch, depending on what you want it to do, and you can run it off your joystick in the cab. So that you're able to change it all just like a Fendt. Here is your front remotes, changing your flow, your timer. So right here is your flow. You can change that from 0 to 100%, and your timer is on the bottom here. Depending if you wanted to run it at 6 seconds, you could do that, or you could have it on continuous flow with the infinity sign. You select that, and it is constantly on when you trigger the remote. To turn it off, you just hit it again, and that's it. On the side here, we got our timer lock and unlock. So if we're running in and we have certain ones set on timer, you can just unlock it, and it's set back to where you have all your timers set. Here's all your rear remotes, and that's the remote set up. Rear PTO is all selected through your screen now. 540E and your 1000 selection is all through here, and your neutral. Here is so your rear fender button. You can select that to on, and that allows you to trigger the PTO on the rear fender of the tractor. You can also set a certain RPM, so if you're running a blower or something on the back, you can have it set that when you turn the PTO on, it automatically revs up to 1500 or whatever you like to set it at. And here is your PTO response, same thing as all your transmission and engine responses, same thing, how fast your PTO responds. So here is headland management. So this option we're not going to get too advanced in, but it's just able to set your presets to your F1 and F2 buttons on your multi-pad joystick. So that gives you also easy access and time sequences. So if you select your Engine A preset, it will give you about a 1 second delay, and you can have your cruise control set on, or whatever option you would like, your auto steer, your PTO, so you can have them all set in there. And if you want to come in the field and you hit F1, it will set your engine RPM. You'll grab your cruise control setting, and we can pick GPS. We can have that on there, or we can have our speed steer shut on or off, depending on what you want. And it sequences it out evenly, and depending on how you want to set it. So that there's all those options. You can also change it that there's no delay in there, that everything is just immediate, depending on what you wanted to do. Dual control. That's all your settings for your implements, depending on if you're running a seater on the front or the back. That we're not going to get too advanced in right now, if there is any questions. Here is your forward drive. So you could turn that on and it will give you the speed that it will turn off on. I don't know if this tractor is equipped with that, but that is what that option is. Depending on the speed of the tractor, it will shut it off automatically. GPS we'll touch on in a bit. Your ISO settings, your camera, and again here's all your joystick functions. Lighting is another one on this thing. It is switched to a 1 and a 2 preset, just like a Fendt is right now. You can select it. There's a dial on your steering console that turns your lights on, and then you have a 1 and a 2 preset. So if you wanted to set 1 preset as all your front lights and 2 as your rear lights, that is an option. You can set your beacons on auto, so you get over a certain speed, your beacons will come on and it will shut off. You can also do it that if you're running a dumper and you only want to have it on reverse, when you back up, the lights come on. You can select it on auto, and those 2 auto lights will light up. And when you come into reverse, this light will automatically come on. So that's another option you can do. And timer, when you exit the tractor and the console dial is set to auto, it gives you 60 seconds of lighting while you exit the tractor and the tractor is off. So that's what that option is. Basically back to back with a Fendt again. Here is your front suspension and your speed steer response, so how fast your speed steer responds. You can have that on or off. And forward drive disengagement. So the 20 degrees is when that 4-wheel drive will shut off. So if you steer the tractor front axle more than 20 degrees, it will automatically shut the 4-wheel drive off. And I think that's the basic screen setup. I think we will touch on the GPS for a minute. So here is our GPS screen. A big thing to keep in mind here is when you are calling in, we need to know what system or version you are running on your tractor. Easiest way to do that is the steering wheel in the top corner. This is different than the software version prior to this one. I think the steering wheel is on this side. You hold it for 3 seconds, let go, and it brings you to this screen. This screen here will give us access to what version you have on your receiver, your hardware version, and the serial number of your beacon. If we needed to add another styles of GPS system or whatever you wanted to do, run RTK or certain unlocks, we will need to know this kind of stuff, and we will give the authorization code, and we will be able to get you upgraded into different GPS systems. Here is your latitude and longitude degrees. So if you are running if you wanted to run those style lines in your GPS, you could also have them here. Or if you wanted to share it with another tractor with a different style GPS, you could give them these numbers, put them in your GPS, and it will basically integrate them together. Here is your counter again. That is a big thing to have on when you're running GPS. So if you wanted to count all your fuel economy and your time and your acres and stuff like that, that counter has to be on in order to get things to record. On the top here is your nudge lines. We'll touch on that in a minute. That basically gives you the ability to shift lines or correct lines when you have a line actually set already. Here is the amount of passes you have,
Which pass you're on,
or which pass you're on from the one you originally started with. So that basically gives you the ability to tell how many passes you do in a field from the one you started with. So if you start with one here, it will give you the amount of passes you have all the way to the other side of the field.
task control, we're not going to touch too much.
No. So this is task control. We're not going to touch on that too much. Okay. So here we're going to go to the profile, and this gives you the ability to access your fields. Click that you have your customer, your farm, and your field. On the bottom here is your auto button. So if you have a boundary set and it is saved, you're able to set that on auto. So when you send out your employer or whatever to the field, it is right when you touch the field, all your settings will pop up in your GPS system. You hit OK, and everything comes set into your screen. So that gives quick access and makes things really, really easy. You can change and create new customers or fields or farms depending on what you want it to do. It's all able to do that through here. Here is your wayline settings. So if you have a field set, you can create.
You can select the existing.
You can select the existing wayline for that field. If you have two different style waylines, you can also select them through here, depending on what you're doing. If you have a field that is straight and then on one side you have contour lines on there, you could divide that field into two waylines. There's something you want to touch on the bottom there?
And then also as a feature for the Massey guide systems, you can also shift your lines. So with this feature here, we can assign the lines to different farms. So that line that we had on there, we can also assign it to any one of our other fields that we have. So if we have this field here, we can assign that line, and now it'll show up. So we just shifted fields there. So now that same way line that we had assigned to the other field is now assigned to this one as well as a duplicate.
That's that. On the side here is your obstacles and flags, which can be set in there as well through here. So here's your obstacle setting, your flag setting. Here is if you're adding a boundary.
Yep.
So if you wanted to add a boundary, you could have your recording point, depending on where you want it, to have it on your right side or the left side of the implement, or just right in directly the middle of the tractor. You would have your record button there. Here is your different options of lines. Here's your contour line, your single contour line. So if you wanted to run an orchard or something, you could have it start on one side, run through your orchard, and end on the other side, and it will not have to attach the lines together. Here's your pivots, which we won't touch on since we don't really touch on them here. A plus angle. This is your manual A plus angle. This is your straight AB line, and your manual coordinates. Those are all the options that it gives you. A big one on here is the go setting. The go setting gives you the option to make things really, really simple. If you wanted to just snap lines, don't want to save anything, you don't care about accuracy, any of that kind of stuff, you would just hit go. It'll give you three options for a contour line, a straight line, and one other one, and you'll select that, and it won't save anything into the screen. When you're done the field, it's gone. So it makes things really simple for guys that are just running the same field every year, and you make the same line, doesn't really matter, or which angle you go on. It can be just through the go setting, and makes things really easy. Do you want to set a boundary for me?
Yeah.
So we will do a quick explanation on the boundary setup. So we have it set in the center of the tractor. We'll pull out. So once we are in the position that we want to start recording, we hit the round black circle. It starts to record. You see a line start to form where the tractor has driven. Once we come to the position where we want to connect the two lines, it will automatically connect the two lines together. automatically, so you don't have to be dead on the same spot. It will just automatically connect them together. On the top here is your nudging that we touched on before. Hold it for 3 seconds. Gives you the different options. The options are here is your offset, so how much it offsets each time you push the nudge arrow. So if you're on a line and you wanted to move the tractor over 3 inches, you would hit the nudge line on the right 3 inches and it will shift the line 3 inches over. This one here,
Total offset.
your total offset, and the bottom one is the shifting the contour line. So those are the 3 options. And if you wanted to reset it, so you have it set over 3 inches and that's where you want to keep it, you would hit the center line and it will save it, and that will be your new line. And I think that's basically it for the GPS side of things. I mean, we can run through it in the cab together to get more clarity on it. So next we're gonna run through the console screen there on your side pillar. Very, very nice setup, clear visibility. There's a couple options you can do on here as well. Clicking the center button on the console right by your back arrow brings you up to this setting here. If a tractor is not equipped with the GPS or any of those counting options, you're able to do that right here. Same icon. You select your implement, your width of your implement. The counter here gives you your acres, your fuel, all that consumption as well. Your trigger, what triggers it to start counting. You just roll the dial and you can select whatever option you want to trigger the system to start counting. And a full reset on the bottom there will reset everything. Just gives it quick, easy access. If guys want to count acres or count your fuel consumption or your time, etc. PTO here is basically the option that you have to have in order to exit the seat. So you turn your PTO on and hit OK, and you're able to exit the tractor with the PTO engaged. Your global settings here is all your language, your time, your brightness, all that stuff can all be changed through here. Your speaker sound, how loud your speaker system is, maintenance, your regen option, your time remaining on your service, your total hours of your equipment, and the limp home mode if the tractor is rated, which you will never have to use. Diagnostics gives you all the options of your transmission temperature, your hydraulic temperature, your engine temperature, and your level of your hydraulic system and your brake system. So that basically gives you a quick rundown of the screen. There's a lot of options you can do with that screen if you are not equipped with the Datatronic 5 screen. If we go over to the console here, another big setup again is the audio system setup in your console here. Again, kind of like a Fendt, you have everything at your fingertips. Massey, like Rob said, is starting to follow the Fendt, and the Fendt is starting to follow the Massey. The Massey has the technology from the Fendt, and Fendt is taking the engine from the Massey. So we kind of trade off and we make two good tractors. Here is your light settings that I was talking about, your 1 and your 2. Your 1 setting and your 2 setting can be changed through the screen like we talked about. Here is also your heat control. Quick access to that. Selecting it will bring it straight up on your Datatronic 5. Again, a big thing to touch on for a lot of guys that we're not used to on the previous Masseys, the green means go. If that is not lit up, your functions will not work on this joystick. It has to be lit up. On the previous tractors, it was the other way around. You switch the switch that the red light is off and you're able to use the function. The new ones are the other way around, so that's just something to keep in mind. Here on this side of the console is your brake to neutral switch, quick access. Green light is on, brake to neutral is activated. Rear remotes, again, green light means go. Your rear remotes will be unlocked, you're good to go. Same with your isobus. And also your rear hitch. Unlock is here as well. Once it is green, it's lit up, everything is good to go. So that's basically a quick rundown of the Massey. If there's any questions, feel free to come forward. No. Weather network. Yep. 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 That, yes. He's wondering if you're 2 inches off, is that from the center of the tractor or the hitch, or where is it from? cover that for a minute, Rob. What kind of system you're under?